April, Jordana, and Robbie, thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Simulant is so much fun. It is so much fun. I had a blast watching it, and I was just wondering, it must have been a blast making it, but for all of you, what was it that excited you to bring this story to life?
I think for me, when I read the script, I really was torn up, and there was this tug of war mind explosion because I was such an advocate for humanity, and I'm really opposed to AI advancements. And I was really, at the end of the day, after reading the script, I felt so much compassion for the simulant side of things, and can we coexist, and should I have no boundaries? And then I just really wanted to make the movie. But that was 6 years ago, so things have changed for sure.
I was very excited about the prospect of working with April. And then I also loved that within this script, there were so many different intersecting storylines. So it's like you could kind of like pick and choose like who you wanted to follow. And in reading it, I felt that way. And then in watching it, I just loved that there were so many intersecting storylines. And I feel like that's somewhat rare.
I was a big fan of the script, and my first conversation with April went so well. And then selfishly, Sam Worthington, Jordana Brewster, and Simu Liu were doing the movie. So I was like, this would be pretty cool to be a part of.
It is. It's a great cast, and it's a really fun script. And very on point. April, you make a good point. 6 years ago is a long time ago. And now we are in an age where AI is a very real thing. Not quite to the same extent that we see in the film. I was just wondering, though, for all of you again, do you think that we need to be, we need to be as nervous about these sorts of things as we see oftentimes of films, or should we have a little bit more compassion and openness?
I actually am not sure, but I do know that even the programmers of the current AI, and as it develops, are saying there's this strange black hole where they can't really distinguish why the AI makes a creative choice, or its unpredictability is actually programmed in there. And it's so random that even they can't really define how it's coming to its end result or goal. And that sort of does make me nervous, and always will. Just if we can't really predict what it might do to human beings, to humanity, to itself, that's a little bit of a terrifying thing. And infinite knowledge too is also something that scares me. I'll always be a little scared, a lot scared.
Yeah, I think that if some of the leading minds in the field are saying we should probably dial this back a bit or take a break, they probably know better than I do. So maybe we should.
And I think if we allow our brains to atrophy, and if we become completely dependent on our phones, like I already am, and sometimes I'm unable to like not multitask and not like check my texts and email. If we do that, then we're kind of at fault if they take over. So I think we have to sort of train our brains to be present and to connect like human to human.
That's a very interesting comment, Jordana, and I think it's so accurate because so much of our culture has been pushing for more love of technology, pushing for more connection to it.
Yeah, it's scary. I watched it with my kids too. Like the way my son watches YouTube, it's like he's just scrolling through and getting these like 2-second, and I'm just like, that's not, what are you doing? Like, no, let's go read a book. So you have to resist it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. With that having been said, one of the conversations taking place in this film is the differences between man and machine. Obviously, this is I want to be careful how I say a fictional story, because we've just said that where things are moving. But I was just wondering where you think the line is. Or does it matter if there's a line between man and machine? I mean, obviously, there's a difference between a person and my cell phone. But in this film, there seems to be this conversation of what it means to be real, to be human.
I think, a unique concept that really drew me into the script as well is that they were able to sort of download their most current memories every night. So they would go into the capsule room and they would download their memories and their special idiosyncrasies that kind of make them human. And I feel like we sort of gave away our biggest eccentricities and the beauties and the uniquenesses that make us human. And by doing that, that's sort of giving over the parts of what makes humanity special. And I don't know, that was a big draw for me. And it was something that I hadn't seen before, sort of that we were able to sort of download personal memories and moments from like our perspective into a simulant and then replicate it. If something happens, bring it to life. Thought that was really interesting.
I found it interesting that the Sims are kind of hyper-focused on love. And that's, if you look at it, like, it kind of looks like that's their main goal is, and the thing that they want the most, which, maybe that's the most powerful emotion that you leave, this earth with. And that's what kind of drives but it's interesting to look at, Jordana mentioned earlier that the Sims seem more human than the humans do. And it's almost like they're the ones that are more hopeful. They're the ones that are trying to continue living. And the humans are just kind of going about what they think their life is.
Yeah. And, there's this wonderful conversation with that. We've talked about this with love and freedom, and even its relationship to the soul. The Sims in this film seem to have more soul than the human characters. In many ways, it's really fascinating. I was wondering, between just as we start to wrap up here, what you hope people take away from Simulant.
I hope people argue about it. I hope, because like I would do what Faye does. I would try and bring my wife back. I would try and probably regret it, and it probably wouldn't be the same. But I know that April says that she doesn't think that she would, and I hope people, like, I love that it's subjective, and I love that people are going to have different opinions on it, and I hope people disagree, and I hope they disagree with each other and they talk about it.
I agree. And what I found interesting is that even though there's 4 very different perspectives and very deep, thoughtful characters that have different objectives, at the end of the day, I do think they're all focused, like what Robbie said, on love. And it's sort of like, what's the purpose of life? At the end of the day, isn't it just to love and be loved, or just to love? Isn't love the answer? And I love each one of the characters. Their root is love. And I love the end of the trailer sort of has love prevails. And I think that we're all so different. Everything's so different. But then I love that the core theme is just single sort of love. And I hope that everybody has compassion for everybody else's, like Robbie said, different perspectives and ideas on what they would do, because you kind of understand each side of the story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, you don't know, but I'm an AI right now. So you've been speaking with me.
We did know.
Oh, dang it. I knew it was the kid stuff in the background. I thought it would. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you all so much. I really do appreciate it. And the film is wonderful. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot. You too.
Thanks for supporting.